I am Annalisa Donati, and I'm currently the Secretary General of Eurisi. And before going a little bit more in the details of how we do this, not only the assessment of the needs in Europe, but also like the promotion of what is currently available when it comes to satellite-enabled solution in this field, I want to present a little bit the association so everybody knows a little bit better what we're talking about, who we are, and what we do. So Eurisi is an association of space agencies. We currently managed to have on board working with us 23 among international organizations. And as you can see, we have the European Space Agency, which is our founding father. But right now, we also have USPA with us and the International Astronautical Federation, as well as national space agencies and offices, governmental, let's say, offices dealing with space affairs. So this is the map of the countries that we have with us. Of course, Eurisi is an organization with a European legacy, but with a global, let's say, ambition. So, of course, let's say our members are not necessarily limited to the European formal, let's say, borders. What we do, so Eurisi's been mandated, as Mark was rightfully highlighting, to bridge the gap between space and society. This is a kind of, it was a visionary mission back in 1989 when the association was created. Right now, there is a completely different need, which is the need for commercialization of certain space-enabled products, and is a need also to make sure that everything that can be, let's say, that there is like an actual, again, use of what has been paid by especially European citizens for the development of the space infrastructure. How do we do that? We have, let's say, three main pillars of activities. On one hand, we do explore new sectors, and we do a lot of awareness raising campaigns toward actual users communities to promote and present what are the possibilities offered by satellite enabled solution in this kind of field. So disaster risk reduction is one of the field that we've been working on recently. But again, we've been working on many others, from smart cities, for instance, to cultural heritage, to again like agriculture, or many other, you name it. Here you see some, but there's plenty of other sectors where we realize that there is an actual benefit in integrating these kind of solutions. So this is what we do in terms of promotion. We also act pretty much as a matchmaker, in the sense that we, of course, have a unique position between users, communities, and service providers. So we try through our events to give them the possibility to also exchange and interact, and to find new potential users and customers. At the same time, something that we do in these activities is really like to champion the user's need analysis, which means that for us it's always very important to bring back, and this bridges to the last pillar that I wanted to introduce, which is the role of advisor towards our members. So we bring back to them the feedback of the work that we do in the previous two pillars, in the sense that, of course, we support the space agencies in developing their own, let's say, strategies to overcome the barriers that we understand are hampering the use of satellite-based solution. We support them in understanding better the users' needs, and to then address a specific action, specific solution. Try to make sure that everything has been really like focused on an actual need, rather than only on the technological development per se. So this is a little bit Eurisi in a nutshell, and I invite everybody, of course, to go and check our website in case you want to know more about the different areas that I mentioned. But today, specifically about disaster risk reduction and, of course, the impact of climate change. Everything started with a discussion with USPA, the European Union Agency for the Space Program, about a sector with a growing interest of the different users, but with a limited, let's say, access to, especially from certain countries, to this kind of information. So we started to indeed look a little bit around, and we realized that compared, I mean, this is like a report that you can access online, but the interesting fact is that so we have like basically 2 decades compared, and we can see immediately like how the number of recorded disasters grew in throughout time. So of course one of the reasons is the fact that now we have a better reporting tools rather than in the past, but for sure the climate change has increased enormously the impact of this event on the environment, on the populations, and the number of the extreme events is increasing. They are becoming more frequent, more ferocious, and also we can see on the other side of the slide, the economic losses are increasing, and the impact on the economies of the countries, it's really like at stake here. So there is a need to reconsider all the possible tools that we have, of course, to primarily save the lives of the people, but also the livelihood and to better protect the environment. So we realized that in terms of disaster risk management, satellite based information can be actually a key element in all the different phases of a life cycle of disaster risk management. So going from phases of prevention and preparedness to basically response and recovery, in every phase, as you can see, there is a different need for information and observations. So of course, in a prevention phase where you want to again either prevent that some of the disasters to happen again, or at least what you want to do with this prevention is try to minimize the impact on things, then you would need, for instance, like data set on the occurrence of the past events and which are the geographic areas which are most affected, or you would like to draw the vulnerability maps. So basically those are all information that you can get from satellite-based solution. And again, I will not go through all the phases, but this is the case for all of them. We have a clear idea on, for instance, during the phase of recovery, what can we need. But during a phase of response, for instance, how important could be to have like an infrastructure that can a redundant infrastructure based on satellite, for instance, in case there is a flood, so terrestrial networks are unavailable or unusable. How important could be able to exactly locate like someone in distress during this kind of events? And this is something that, again, satellite-based information can provide. We started to map a little bit what was already available. So we know that at the international level, for instance, there's an organization like indeed the United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs with the UN Spider that is providing not only like this kind of information, but also like capacity building, but and there's many other. But specifically at European level, we have like a great let's say composed infrastructure that can be used from Galileo and EGNOS, the European program of GNS information, GNSS, data, and then Copernicus with the Copernicus Emergency Management Service, and then the new program that it's under development at the moment, and this GovSatcom. So what we do with USPA is again part raising awareness. So we gather and we collect the operational solutions that are part of what is in use by the public administration, and we provide, as it is done here for the Fire Hub, like an hands-on demonstration. So here, for instance, and this is what was presented during the first workshop that was done in Greece. The Fire Hub is an early warning service, as you can read. And that provides also alerts to the population, but information to the emergency operators that needs to be deployed in the field. So it can be used like in different solution. It's based on web GIS enabled maps. And of course, I mean, the authorities have been experiencing and enjoying like some of the benefit provided by this kind of solution. The second one that I wanted to present today, it's mostly on floods. So, and actually this is a spin-off of something which was produced for different purposes, was a land cover and land use map that was used by one of the public services of the region of Wallonia to support the cadastral identification of the land parcels. But eventually they understood that this was also something that they could use, for instance, for the floods. So they could use this kind of map to develop, let's say, risk assessment maps in case of floodings, where they could understand, for instance, and assess the possibility of these events to occur in which specific period of time and which kind of impact on the territory. So all of this is collected in our success stories database. So basically, Eurisi holds one of the largest database in Europe with operational solutions that are making use of satellite data, and that indeed have already like specific users and that are operational in the different countries. To go more in the details of what we've been doing together with USPA, and the methodology that we used in order to get some of the data that we are looking into at the moment to better understand the needs of the users, is a set of workshops. So we decided to work on addressing somehow all the lines that I presented earlier. So the awareness raising, and the promotion of what is already available, the matchmaking with the local institutions, and of course the analysis of the needs. So the somehow assessment of how can the current services be of better use for the public administration and for the overall users. So this workshop is organized again addressing this point with a survey, but I will show you a little bit like some let's say highlights of this later on. It is done with the direct engagement of the local community of potential users, and it is done in all different European countries. So just for you to better understand what we are talking about, I would like to show you this short video, which was produced by USPA, also on their own objectives. Please let me know if you cannot hear it.
As natural disasters become increasingly frequent and destructive, the European Commission, DG DEVIS, together with USPA, are committed to developing and delivering satellite-based services within the EU Space Programme to mitigate disaster risk.
The number of recorded natural disasters in Europe has more than doubled over the last 3 decades. The components of the EU space program enable our member states to build an efficient disaster risk management cycle, from prevention and preparedness to response and recovery.
The EU space program can provide improved monitoring, mapping, and communication capabilities that help to better anticipate and respond to disasters. USPA recently co-organized with the Deputy Ministry of Research, Innovation and Digital Policy and EURISI a workshop on satellite-based services for disaster risk management and how the EU space program can be used to support a wide range of disaster scenarios, including fighting wildfires.
The European Commission is making giant steps to harmonize how member states can work together to tackle and reduce the impact of disasters.
Held in Cyprus, the workshop brought together national and regional stakeholders, while in parallel, the Cypriot authorities organized a search and rescue exercise.
Cyprus has created a growing satellite network, also include a receiving earth station, part of the search and rescue service of the EU Galileo system for detecting and locating emergency beacons.
The scenario of the exercise involved a passenger ship traveling from the Middle East when it sent out a Mayday alert. A Galileo-enabled personal location beacon equipped with the Galileo Return Link service was activated to notify the authorities. The emergency signal was picked up in less than 2 minutes by the Maritime Rescue Coordination Center.
Maritime navigation is more and more a challenge, and there we can bring together services from Galileo, data from Copernicus to optimize traffic routes. We encourage to use those data, use those services, because they belong to you, they belong to us, they belong to the European Union.
As components of the EU space program, Galileo and Copernicus improve sea safety and navigation, while GovSatcom enables secure communication for maritime authorities.
Okay, this was just, sorry. This was just to show you a little bit what it's all about and what we've been doing in the past. But like a key part of this exercise is to, of course, gather data on the user's needs. So we do that with 2 different tools. On one end, we developed a questionnaire, and on the other one, we do in-depth interviews, and we combine the information that we get from the different stakeholders in order to have like the final report that you can easily access in our website. So the questionnaire has been, of course, developed together with USPA and based on the experience that EURISI has in discussing with different users communities. And it's basically very important to us because since this exercise is done in let's say different member states, we can have like individual data on the on individual country, and we can be able through a data set which is done always in the same way to compare the data and to basically aggregate the data to have like a European overview. This is very important for us again because we can have quantitative somehow data on certain metrics that we would like to better understand, while at the same time the in-depth interviews, this is what it's really key in order to understand first of all and to specify the different needs and the challenges of the different community of users within the larger national community. And also it's very important because this gives you like a more detailed overview of also like the barrier to use and the challenges on the integration of this kind of data. And this is a little bit how we operate. Of course, for us, it's always key to have like a full engagement of the local authorities because, of course, local authorities, more than everybody else in general terms, they have a visibility on how this kind of data, how and if this kind of data are currently used, and which use has been done, and to who basically we should talk to. So here is a little bit of an example of the sample and the questions that we had in Greece, for instance, which was the first workshop that you organized. And again, the questions are meant to create like an overall sampling at the very beginning. So to understand, for instance, which kind of entity we are talking to. So if it's like a public local entity, rather than, for instance, specific emergency operators, rather than an international organization or else. And in which field do they work? So if it's specifically like on environmental protection, rather than, again, as you can see, building and infrastructure or climate and energy. And also question on what would you see as an improvement of the current use that you're doing of these kind of solutions. And here you can see something which I believe can resonate, like higher resolution images, and for instance, like more real-time information. And same goes again on the sampling. Of course, we're interested also in understanding a little bit better what they are currently using. So, for instance, the level of understanding and of use of the Copernicus Emergency Management Service. And also, like for those that do know and that are using these kind of services, what would you need? For instance, which kind of support do you expect from European institutions or national institutions? And here you can see if it's like, again, additional technical supports in terms of, for instance, acquisition of information rather than training, or more, let's say, economic support to basically decide and have like more flexibility on what you need, or if you need like more, again, legal support. So this is a little bit an overall understanding of what and how the European institutions could better support local stakeholders. And finally, just today, I mean, to present you, but of course you can go and read better on the website. Here is about the benefit, and at the same that they reported that they are currently enjoying while using this kind of information, and the challenges deriving again from the same exact same use. So here, among the benefit, the highest one is about we can take better and more informed decisions, which is also very important in this kind of situation. At the same time, of course, a lot of them, they are telling us that there is a big benefit in terms of internal optimization of certain processes, of a certain, for instance, mostly it's like, again, the optimization of resource use, let's say. And in terms of challenges, for sure, as you can easily see here, the most critical challenge is a technical challenge. So, of course, a lot of users, they declare not to have, or to believe not to have, like specialized people that could use this. So there is a need for, again, for training and for the development of certain skills in this sector that could allow them to use it directly without the support, or at least without the decreasing the level of technical support that they would need. And this is perfectly, again, matching with the data that we got on the expectation towards public organization. Again, this is just an overview. I hope that it was nice as food for thought. Thank you very much for your attention, and I'm happy to discuss further with you on this interesting topic. Thank you.